associate those NVMe's with that. I'm going to go back to Tools. I'm going to go to System Devices, and I'm going to remove all those now. Find selected, alert changes saved, reboot to take effect. I'm going to go Dashboard, and I'm basically going to do a reboot, and we can see that happening there. Anyway, as I was saying, so what I'm actually going to use this beast for? Well, to be honest, really, I've decided sort of kind of really that it's about time really in my life that I actually basically start reducing my electricity again. You know, we went from lots of bare metal to nested, and lots of big industrial servers really, because the costs really were getting a bit ridiculous. So we moved on basically to microserver Gen 8s. We moved off a lot of spinning Rust, and we built vSAN here. I've just never really been happy with the vSAN performance. I've never been happy basically with the vSAN issues. Now, let me just turn around and say that the vSAN here is not on the hardware compatibility to this, so that could be the reason why that we've actually had problems with vSAN. And I just sort of kind of think it's time really to shrink the environment and the home labs a little bit. And I'm just sort of kind of unhappy with all the storage that we have around here. You know, we have, you know, 5 NASs now, small NASs. You know, we've got 4 large NASs. We've got stuff in the cloud. So it's really sort of kind of time really to just consolidate all this, and reduce footprints, reduce costs, reduce energy. So that's really why Cyrus NAS 5 or the UNRAID NAS has come about. Also want something faster as well. That's why it's got 10 GBE network interfaces in it. So we're going to be doing 10 GBE jumbo frames, iSCSI, fast virtual machines actually basically running on UNRAID. I may be very, very tempted to move and convert some of the infrastructure VMs that we use, our DCs, our DNS, DHCP, onto UNRAID as well, and migrate them away from VMware vSphere. And it's thinking about VMware vSphere long term. At the moment, you know, we have 8.0 and we have 9 here. But 8.0 is end of life in October 2027. And personally, my feeling about VMware vSphere 9 is I think we've moved beyond what it is in using it for home labs, you know, day-to-day production home labs. Anyway, so we've restarted. So let's log back in again. So just to remind you, we've now removed all those NVMe's, so they will now be available to use in UNRAID. So you can see them here, Dev 2, Dev 3, and Dev 4. Now, I'm just going to have a little look. The last stick we put in, its number was 927. I'm just looking to see what I've done with my phone, because I took a picture. Because as I mentioned before, I want to ensure that the ones that I've actually basically got in a match pair that are running in Gen 3 in those 2 slots are the ones that I actually basically put in this cache here. So I just actually basically want to check. That's the wrong. Okay, so I'm just having a little look. The 691 is 1, and the other one we've just added is 927. So this is the one here that I want to add. So again, we're going to go back up to cache. I'm going to select 2 like I did before. So we've now got 2 devices, and let's just get rid of that up there, which is annoying me. I'm going to select 927. All existing data on this device will be overwritten when array is started. So those 2 devices, what I'll try and do, maybe I'll take these pictures and I'll upload them as well into the video, so you can sort of kind of see. What I want to do is to pair those 2 devices in those 2 slots, because those 2 slots operate in Gen 3. The other 2 slots operate in Gen 4, which is why I didn't spend money on Lexar or Samsung 9100 Gen 5 devices, because there wasn't really an awful lot of point. So I'm now going to click Start. And again, as we saw before, what's actually going to happen now, we're probably going to see some warning signs about RAID being rebuilt. And they're going to basically ramp up the reads and the writes. They're going to start getting warm as we're waiting for that mirrored 71 gigs, I think, which is currently in use on that cache. So, yeah, here we go. Temperatures rising slightly, and we're basically okay. So we've got a warning. Too many profiles. You can ignore this warning when a pull balance operation is in progress. So, you know, we've now got reads of 1.1 gigabits a second. We've got writes of 1.1 gigabits a second. Btrfs. That does say the size is 4 terabyte, used 42.93, 3.29. So maybe it is actually basically doing, as I said, you know, I did try and read an awful lot about this, but I was sort of kind of getting mixed messages, really. And I think that was possibly because of some of it may have been historical. And, you know, we are running the latest and greatest UNRAID 7.2.2. So tell me what I'm going to do. Rather than me waffle on, I'm just going to pause this, and we'll have a little look at what's going on, and we'll come back and I'll summarize. Okay, so we're exactly where we wanted to be now. So if I actually have a little look in my shares, app data, domains and ISOs and Scratch, and system, sorry, they actually basically sit on cache, and they've now all got lots of little green bubbles, spots, indicating that they are resilient. They're not on a single storage device. If I actually basically go back to main and we have a little look, cache 1, cache 2, we've got our Samsung SSD 990 Pro 4 terabytes. We've got the correct serial numbers because, of course, here they're operating in Gen 3. And UnRAID, clever little thing, basically did all the rebalancing for me. So let's just sort of kind of summarize in what we did. We were using a single NVMe 512 gig XPG device as our cache device. Single device. The goal we wanted to get to is we wanted to replace both those XPG devices that were 512 gig, and we actually basically wanted to install and use our Samsung 990 Pro 4 terabytes. Now, we'd have done that from the very start, but we deliberately held off because we wanted to get a deal in Black Friday, which by waiting and be patient, we did. But we were a little bit impatient because we really wanted to get UnRAID up and running. Once we basically had the Intel NUC, we had the memory, we had the NVMe devices, we just had the wrong size. So if we'd have delayed it all, but then we wouldn't have been able to do the videos for you guys and girls. So the quickest way that I thought of doing this, there are many different methods that we could have done. We could have basically put in another Samsung in an NVMe slot. We could have created a cache drive on that. We could have migrated the data from one cache to another cache, then remove that device, then put another one in, then moved it back, then put it back. Anyway, I sort of kind of thought that the procedure that I'd sort of kind of worked out was probably maybe the quickest for me. So what we did, we removed one of the XPG devices, and we then added a Samsung 990 Pro. We then created a RAID 1 mirror across those two devices. However, our mirror would have only been 512 gig on both devices, even though one device was 4 terabytes. Then we actually basically removed, once that balance, that mirror had replicated on both devices, we then dropped the device out, going back to just one device again. We shut down. We then swapped that XPG device, this one, with another Samsung 990 Pro, And then basically we actually created the mirror one cache. And clever little bugger, UnRAID has automatically rebalanced and using the full size of the NVMe device, 4 terabytes, without us really doing any sort of kind of magic under the covers, CLI or anything, all driven from the GUI. And of course, along the way, you actually basically saw me using PCI Passthrough to pass through 2 devices again to Windows 11, basically to do firmware updates and to actually basically check that the Samsung devices were authenticated. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video this afternoon in a little exploration using UnRAID. So I hope that there was a golden nugget there in this video, which is probably going to be about 45 minutes, I would think, by the time that we've edited and put it all together. But I'll chapterize it for you. So you can go to the various chapter and have a little look and take away some information and some knowledge from you. So again, thanks very much for watching. What is part 8? Come back in part 9. I'm desperate to get the 10 GBE connected to this, but I've got a little bit of an issue with that at the moment, a logistics issue here in the lab. We'll just say it's a logistics issue in the lab. There's also another logistics issue as well, is that I don't think I've got any SFPs, and I've not got any twin DACs either. I know where they are, and I'm about to go up there to get the Christmas trimmings down, so I need to go up in the loft and get the bag of twin DACs and that down. But they're not here yet. They're nearby, but they're not here yet. Anyway, so if you've liked this type of video, then please like, share and subscribe. If you don't like the content, then tell me why you don't like the content, and we'll try and adapt some content that maybe that you'll like on the channel here at Hancock's VMware half hour, or maybe Hancock's UnRAID half hour, or Hancock's Proxmox half hour, or Hancock's Hyper-V half hour, or Hancock's Nutanix half hour, or maybe we'll just call it Hancock's virtualization half hour, and we'll look at all things virtual. But the next couple of things really to do, we'll have a little look at some boring Windows shares, if you like, and we'll show you how the cache mover function sort of kind of works. I'm going to have a little think about how I actually explore and use those other 2 NVMe devices, and I might create a share on one of them, and we'll do NFS, and we'll do NFS over 1 gig. Maybe we'll do NFS over 10 gig. Then we'll experiment with some jumbo frames. Then we'll use a single device with NFS, not mirrored, and a single device with iSCSI. And I was only looking earlier, and I was just actually basically measuring up inside the case to see whether or not that a bit of Velcro on the back of that and that stupid long cable thing that I've got might be able to cram into the Intel NUC 11 so that we can actually basically have a little look at our an NVMe device. I'm keen really to get that device working, because if you actually go back to a video that I did on NVMe namespaces, where we can actually chop up a device into separate NVMe devices, is what I'd like to use, because allocating an iSCSI LUN to 4 terabytes is a bit large really for what I want to do with it, and I'd really like to actually basically use that NVMe namespace, because that would allow me to create 3 LUNs on one device, and they'd be the sort of kind of the right size for me. We'll see. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching another Hancock's VMware half hour by me, Andrew Hancock. As usual, go safe, stay alive, and be kind, and work hard. Thank you very much now, and goodbye, and come back for part 9 in our DIY UnRAID NAS, but it is a bit of a slow burn. Thanks very much now. Bye bye.